Now we're going to discuss the importance of understanding still life in environments, especially applying it to animation. So within animation, not only are the characters important, but the design of the environment and the props are also just as important. It can define a lot about the scene. It can define a lot about how you should feel about the character, about the time that this place is existing in and what this world is like. Maybe it's not like our own. So observing from life is a way to be able to understand environments, perspective, and also using still life to better understand lighting, values, and props. So let's go ahead and take a look at alumni Aaron Loftus' website where it's showing visual development. And you'll see how he is thinking about environments and props, adding appeal or character to it using shape language, and also how it's important to define the scene, especially in something like an animation. So let me share my screen. All right, so this is Aaron's project called Tire. And you can see here and just the first snapshot, not only is it a really lovely storytelling moment between two characters, but there's wonderful shape language design and also prop design with this vehicle here. All of it has a personality. All of it feels like it's very unique to this story or this world that we're existing in. And what's interesting about this is that it's also leading the eye to where you should be looking. So here, this environment is leading this way, and this is also pointing this way and helping to point up. So it's creating direction and rhythm, and everything is leading us into these characters seated here. Also, there is some wonderful lighting where it feels like it's night, and also we're seeing some shading on where the source of the light is coming from. And using observation can really help you understand that. With the truck, you can see it has interesting shape language. It's not, you know, super realistic. It's very exaggerated, just like we would do with caricature. And it's got this really nice boxy feel, but there's a little bit of roundness to it, which gives it a softness. And remember, from the shape language, it also defines that it's very sturdy since it's square-like, but it's also got an organic feel to it, so it feels very welcoming. And it complements our protagonists really well. They have very similar shape language. Now, let's go ahead and scroll down. So you can see in here in the room study that there is a lot of different shape language and lighting. And what you see here is Aaron is starting with grayscale, which allows you just to focus on value only, because there's so many colors out there that it can be a challenge for you to figure out what colors you want to use. So starting with values is really helpful. But in this room itself tells a story. It tells us a little bit about who this character might be. We can see that it's probably someone who's younger, someone who's interested in space, maybe, because there's stars, right? We can see that they also might be in school because there's some desks. There's a desk with some papers and some books. You can see that they have an interest in music. Also, the technology in here says a lot about what time it could be. It could be now. There's record players now, but we don't really see anything super modern. No computers, no television. Not to say there isn't television then when records existed, but a television can really define an era, right? But we're not seeing that here. But we're seeing a record player. So we know that it's a time when, that they had records. I could see this maybe being 90s, something around there. It's easy to kind of tell when you glance around. It could also be the 80s. We know it's a little bit more modern era, but we're not totally sure when, but it's recognizable and it says a lot about the character too. So these are important for you to consider. And you can see here that there's different props. There's a lamp, there's photos, there's books, there's the bed, there's pillows, there's a rug, stuffed animals. And all of these have interesting shape language, and also they feel real. They now when I say they feel real, I don't mean it's realistic, but it feels like it belongs and that it has believability and interest. So this is a great example also of how props can, or still life can help you with props. So observing things that are on your desk or in your bedroom can really help populate a space and define the character even more, make it feel lived in. So what I did as an example, and this is an exercise that you can apply. So this would be something that you'll want to pull out and try in your own sketchbook. Is what I did is I took a photograph of a area in my living room. So oops, let me clear that. And so this is just it's got a little plant, zoom in a little, a picture of my mom and I, my husband and I, a little vase, two vases, and you can also see the entertainment center itself. And what I did with this, and this is something that you can do to get started to help you better understand perspective and so on, is then I drew right over this to figure out what the shapes looked like and also where the horizon line might be, where the grid might be on this. Now, this one has a little bit more of an kind of Dutch angle to it, but I adjusted it slightly. For this, I don't want to create a sense of uneasiness. I just want to make something that feels grounded and has a perspective to it. So then after I did that, I took this sketch over and then I just started to make an environment based off of that. Now I moved some things around to avoid any tangents or anything, because here you can see there's a little bit of tangent happening here, a little bit here. So, and same with the photo too. There's tangents here. So I just spread things out a little bit to try to avoid some tangents and came up with just a really fun desert scene. And I used values just to figure out, what's the darkest, medium, lightest, and then just put a little bit of orange to make it feel dry. And of course you could go in and throw more colors. It's really up to you. But this is what I came up with. And then the three shapes that were used from the photograph was this one, was the picture that we saw above right here. And then here's the vase, well, one of them. Here's the little potted plant, but I nudged the little cactus over and shrunk it for scale. And then here's the other photograph, the one of my mom and I. And then here's the other vase. And of course you can take creative liberties, but doing this adds a variety of shape language. And also you have volumes and perspective kind of laid out for you. And it's kind of fun to figure out what you could come up with, what's something that you can create with this. So now that you've seen this example, go ahead and apply it to your sketchbook. And this will be something that would be really valuable in showing how you can understand foundational drawing and apply it to the field that you want to go into, which is animation. So go ahead, get started. I think you're really going to have fun with this one. Find a unique spot where you love the organization of your space. It doesn't have to be something in your bedroom. You could go out into the world and draw, but it will be a really exciting exercise. And I think it will help start to define understanding where your eye is led and perspective as well as volumes. So good luck.